Define the Russian equivalent of the English idiom "the coast is clear."
Then, it pops smaller bubbles to form a larger one that it can breathe through, like an emergency air supply. Then, once the coast is clear, the spittlebug can re-emerge.
Once the coast is clear, head back to the scene of the crime. When you flip the bowl over, you should be able to slide out the jello in one swift move.
Hello? Anybody in here? Must be imagining things. Okay, looks like the coast is clear. Aren't baths supposed to be relaxing? Okay, back to business.
There is no danger of being seen or caught.
As soon as the coast was clear, he climbed in through the window.
As soon as my boss left the office, I whispered over the phone, "The coast is clear."
Before crossing the road, I looked both ways, and when I saw the coast is clear, I safely made my way to the other side.
Идиома означает, что ситуация безопасна для выполнения какого-либо действия или перехода в определенное место, так как нет никого, кто мог бы помешать или поймать вас.
Define the Russian equivalent of the English idiom "in touch."
But they don't just use these technologies to keep in touch with friends or for social networking. It's a core part of their primary income-generating activities.
Are you sure you've come to the right event? Anyway, I'm going to share an idea with you that might surprise some of you. The idea is that silliness is really a very important thing for us to keep in touch with.
Now, there are some Russians who do use Facebook to keep in touch with their international friends, but many of them simply don't bother with the social network at all.
To remain in contact with someone, especially when separated by time or distance, or to keep up to date with information, sometimes used to end a conversation, meaning that you will not be talking to that person again. It could be seen as sarcastic.
I decided to get in touch with an old girlfriend.
Many therapists think it's important for adults to get in touch with their inner child.
We talk to each other, but we're not really in touch with each other.
Идиома означает держать или поддерживать связь с кем-то, особенно на расстоянии, или быть в курсе информации. Иногда используется для завершения разговора, что означает, что вы больше не будете разговаривать с этим человеком. В этом значении идиома может быть воспринята как сарказм.
Define the Russian equivalent of the English idiom "young at heart."
We have to be young at heart at least, and age is no reason for some people to stop working if they're in good health.
100%. So it's great to have that cross-section, and we definitely see that at each and every one of our events.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you just got to be young at heart, right?
Young at heart.
How do I keep the account growing? I think in part is because I'm young at heart. I've always followed movies, TV, the music, or I should say music, the music. The hell's that?
Thinking and behaving like a young person even when you are old.
Grandma is still so young at heart. I can't believe she's taking dance lessons at 90 years old.
My knees are a bit creaky and my back hurts getting out of bed, but I still feel young at heart.
Age is just a number. What's important is to remain young at heart.
Идиома означает вести себя таким образом или иметь характер, который более молод, чем ваш возраст.
Define the Russian equivalent of the English idiom "in the doghouse."
And in this video right now, we're going to be talking all about why it is that men cheat. Now, to be fair, by the way, a decent amount of women also cheat as well. So let's not put men totally in the doghouse.
When Bismarck returned from this excursion, he found on his desk a letter. It was an invitation to take charge of running the dikes on the Elbe. It may not seem like much, but it was an official position. His time in the doghouse with the government might be over.
Yeah, Joseph's still a jailbird. He's still in jail. But he begins to do other things God had in mind for him. He starts interpreting dreams. Dreams that the baker had. Dreams that the cupbearer had. They were also in the doghouse. They were in Pharaoh's doghouse as well.
If you are in the doghouse, somebody is annoyed with you because of something that you have done.
If I don't do something for Mother's Day, I'll really be in the doghouse.
I'm in the doghouse with my wife again for staying out until 3 a.m. last night with my buddies.
Keep talking to me in that tone of voice and you'll be in the doghouse for the next month.
Идиома означает иметь неприятности или находиться в плачевной ситуации из-за гнева кого-то на то, что вы совершили или не совершили какой-то поступок.
Define the Russian equivalent of the English idiom lose touch with.
The idea that we might, as the expression has it, lose touch with our feelings is, when we reflect on it, a highly paradoxical one. How could we lose touch with feelings that belong to us? Where might they go?
But when you arrive in the prison, then you could be looking at decades of your life inside, in which you won't see your children grow up, in which people close to you will die, in which people who you thought were your friends will move away and will lose touch with you. That's the suffering of imprisonment. And we know the research shows us that it runs very deep indeed.
This strange thing about empathy is, as valuable as it is, we tend to lose it. It tends to evaporate. It's very easy to lose your touch in making contact with other people.
To no longer have any contact with somebody or something.
She graduated from the university long ago but didn't lose touch with her university friends.
Politicians can easily lose touch with the real people if they spend too much time in Washington, D.C.
You may have the talent, but if you do not practice enough, you will lose your touch someday.
Идиома используется для описания утраты связи, контакта или понимания с кем-либо или чем-либо. Также может использоваться в контексте утраты связи с реальностью вследствие психического расстройства. С притяжательным местоимением идиома имеет значение потерять свою способность справляться с кем-либо или чем-либо.
Define the Russian equivalent of the English idiom go with the flow.
Better to just go with the flow, to be the man his father wanted him to be. This meant assuming the role of a teenage jock. It meant playing football and baseball and hanging out with pretty girls.
But this passage reminds us there is mystery inherent in life. Either we can choose to fight it hopelessly, trying to control everything, or we can let go, embrace uncertainty, go with the flow, and find that things work out. Life becomes easier.
It allows you to practice making the sounds and following the natural rhythm of my voice to help you sound much more natural while using English. Don't worry if you make some mistakes. Just try to relax and go with the flow. You can practice as many times as you need to.
To be relaxed and not worry about what you should do and do what other people are doing, or to agree with other people because it is the easiest thing to do.
When you're new in a school, it's easiest to just go with the flow for a while and see what people are like.
I try not to plan too much when I take a vacation to a new place. I like to just go with the flow when I get there.
If you don't have a choice, then most simple principle of staying happier in life is to go with the flow.
Идиома означает делать то, что делают другие. Выражение подразумевает принятие событий или мнений других людей без сопротивления, следуя общему направлению.
Define the Russian equivalent of the English idiom get one's feet wet.
I think the disability law intensive really teaches you more than just the law. It gives you a new way of thinking.
You learn about the realities of clinical practice, so what it's like to practice in this case, a legal aid clinic. When I came in, I had no legal experience at all, and this provided me with a way to get my feet wet and also hopefully do some good.
It's such a cool place that fosters creativity, and there's so much
fun stuff that happens in the summers in Iowa City, and the Summer of the Arts and the Arts Festival. And so I feel like it was a great place to kind of get my feet wet as an artist, and I always felt like there was encouragement around me and support around me.
I was able to rent a kitchen space instead of renting a whole brick and mortar and managing a team of people. It was just me and one baker at the time, and everything kind of was under my control to kind of get my feet wet in the business.
To start doing something that is new for you.
I worked as a substitute teacher for a while, just to get my feet wet.
I know that you want to get your feet wet as soon as possible, but we have to get the sponsorship.
Learning idioms is an easy way to get your feet wet in the quest to become a perfect English speaker.
Идиома означает приступить к чему-то новому, чего не делал раньше. Используется в различных контекстах, например, в бизнесе, когда человек начинает заниматься новым проектом, или в повседневной жизни, когда человек пробует что-то впервые.
Define the Russian equivalent of the English idiom test the waters.
So it's about having fun and sharing this moment together. So I've got different styles, but I think we can just start with something to see, to test the waters. Does it sound right?
They have one brick and mortar restaurant in West London and have now rented kitchen space in East London at Karma Kitchen.
We can go to the city and we can test the waters without having to invest really big.
Remember, you can also start a side hustle while working a job to test the waters of entrepreneurship.
To find out what the situation is before doing something or making a decision, or to find out what people's opinions of something are before you ask them to do something.
The furniture company tested the waters before they began to produce a new design of furniture.
Your idea might not be popular with people, so before you start marketing it you should test the waters.
My husband is going to test the waters about getting more money at work.
Идиома используется для описания процесса определения успешности какого-либо предприятия или действия перед тем, как его начать.
Define the Russian equivalent of the English idiom water under the bridge.
The Gordie Howe Bridge is an impressive feat of engineering, but better yet, it has the potential to shape one of the most important border crossings in the world. Maybe all that political drama will finally be water under the bridge.
But nobody can ruin your life except you. Your past is past. It's over. It's water under the bridge. It doesn't have to control you anymore.
Number 5 is a lovely one. It is water under the bridge. Water under the bridge. This refers to problems or disagreements that someone or a group of people had a long time ago, but now they don't care about it anymore because time has passed and these things can't be changed.
Used to say that something happened in the past and is now forgotten or no longer important.
Mr. Bruce said that he was relieved it was over and that he regarded his time in jail as water under the bridge.
When I was a child, I used to fancy myself being a sports person when I grew up, but that's water under the bridge.
It's best to consider that incident as water under the bridge and move on with a positive attitude.
Идиома используется для указания на то, что прошлые события уже устарели и им не следует уделять внимание или энергию.
Define the Russian equivalent of the English idiom get on like a house on fire.
And Wilfred, I think, feels rather protective towards him.
I mean, all those friends of yours,
they've all got someone else. Still, that's fine. I'm fine.
I'll watch out for you, sir.
Which is a bit daft, really, when you think of the Doctor's powers and this silly old... I nearly said something very rude then, but I won't. This silly old gentleman. And anyway, they get on like a house on fire, generally.
The way it's actually turned out is completely the opposite. If Nikki had been born as an average person, she probably would have overtaken Emma, and Emma would have been left as the one child sort of on her own in a way, they get on like a house on fire, so it's fantastic. They're going to have a friend for life.
They may get along like a house on fire because they are as thick as thieves. So for example, every time my wife and her best friend catch up, they're as thick as thieves. So every time they get together to socialize, they get on like a house on fire, they're great friends, they are as thick as thieves.
Of people. To become friends quickly and have a very friendly relationship.
I was worried that they wouldn't like each other, but in fact they're getting on like a house on fire.
It's good when co-stars get on like a house on fire, since they have to spend so much time together while filming. I went over and struck up a conversation, and we got on like a house on fire.
Идиома означает немедленно наладить прочные и успешные отношения, особенно с новым знакомым.